Welcome, viewers, to my talk show. This is the day I've been waiting for to welcome you all to my show. My YouTube channel goes by the name Development Insights with Africa, and basically, it's all about dissecting matters international relations and development, and specifically within the African context. So, if you are that person who is interested, who is passionate about development within the African context, then this is the right show for you. I urge you to subscribe. I urge you to share more and more videos coming your way. So I'm excited to inform you that today we have our first guest, our very own Mr. Martin Warui. We will give him some time to introduce himself, and then we can delve into the topic of discussion. Martin.
Thank you, Elika. My name is Martin Warui, and I am a commentator on international relations. I am happy to join you as your first guest on this particular program. I am hoping to have a good time, to have a very vibrant discussion with you, and hopefully that through our discussion we are going to benefit one or two people, and also to make our contribution towards the development of Africa, and also to educate people on the things that are happening in the African region or within the context of Africa that have a bearing on development of this particular region. Thank you.
Okay, viewers, as you've heard, this is our very own Martin, who is very rich and knowledgeable in matters international relations. So today's topic of discussion is dissecting the position of Africa in international relations, and our focus mostly is going to be on WTO, the World Trade Organization. So Martin, the other day we saw the election of Dr. Ngozi as the Director General of World Trade Organization. What does this mean for Africa? What is the position of Africa in all this?
This means a few things insofar as Africa is concerned. The first thing is that it is really a momentous time for Africa because we have, in quotes, one of our own heading such a big, such a consequential, such an impactful global organization in the name of World Trade Organization, a body that is concerned with matters to do with trade rules, which cover areas such as the fairness of trade, the predictability of trade, and also the stability of trade. Remember, trade is one of the drivers of development, and therefore, because Africa is a continent that is having so many plans and so many expectations insofar as development is concerned, then it therefore means that the WTO is one of the major or one of the strategic organizations that Africa should be focusing on if it is to achieve its goals, its objectives, and its plans insofar as its development is concerned. You have asked the question, what this means for Africa.
Yes.
The fact that we have also a woman, the first woman leading that global organization coming from Africa.
It makes me feel so proud.
Exactly. It's such a proud moment for all of us because that the moment that we have realized or that we have deemed it fit to have a woman leading such an organization, not for anything else, but for her qualifications and suitability and competence, we have found that particular person in Africa. So Africa has a reason to be proud, to celebrate, and to be expectant. But other than that, because those are very sentimental reasons, there are other fundamental and objective reasons which are related to the question that you have asked, which is, what is the position of Africa in the WTO? To understand the position of Africa, you have to look at two things. Number one, what is Africa's agenda? One of the major agendas of Africa is, of course, about development, because development is at the center of many of the things that Africa would want to achieve. Whether you talk, issues to do with creating job, opportunities for her young population, whether it is, dealing with issues of conflict and peace, all these issues are related to trade, are related to development. So the other way that you have to look at this thing is currently, what is Africa's contribution towards the global trade? It's very minimal.
Yes.
Africa, it's very peripheral. Africa, it's like it doesn't play any particular role or any significant role, because if you look at the share of Africa's trade, insofar as the global trade is concerned, still it stands at 2.5%.
Yeah.
And this is a decline. In 1960s, Africa used to account for about 5% of the entire global trade. So the position of Africa in the WTO is very peripheral. It is not as good as we would want it to be. And therefore, I do not know whether, though I expect that through this, appoint the election of the DG from Africa, Africa is going to take measures. It is going to put in policies. It is going to put in strategies to benefit from the leadership of Dr. Ngozi, not because she is an African, but because she has shown rather that she is going to address some of the issues that have made Africa not contribute as we would want towards global trade, and that is what I am looking forward to.
If I may interject,
yes.
You raised the point of Africa only contributing 2.5%
yes.
of global economy.
Yeah, trade.
Global trade.
Yes.
So and we see Dr. Ngozi coming in at a point where we have African countries
yes.
Ratifying the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Correct.
So what does this mean for membership to WTO? Are we going to owe more allegiance to the African Continental Free Trade Area, or are we still going to push for involvement in WTO issues?
I think the ratification of the African Continental Free Trade Area is not going to affect Africa's focus on the WTO, or even its membership, or even its commitment or loyalty for that matter. Why do I say so? I mean, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. There are issues that can only be addressed within the framework of the WTO. There are issues that are going to be addressed within the context of this Continental Free Trade Area. Actually, I see the Continental Free Trade Area as an enabler
of WTO,
of Africa's bigger contribution to global trade. And Africa's significant contribution towards global trade is going to be enabled by the WTO. So what I expect is a strategic partnership between this newly ratified mechanism or framework and the WTO. Again, I don't think that it is in Africa's best interest to sideline the WTO. It is not going to serve their interest, because I think Africa has more to lose by not being in the WTO than to gain. What would Africa gain by not being committed to the WTO? But I mean, Africa is not like the European Union, it is not like China, it is not like the US. Africa has to stick within the WTO and fight from within.
Okay. So we're going to take a short break. Viewers, as you heard, this was interesting, and the takeaway here is that the mechanism that has been established and WTO basically complement each other.
Sure.
Yeah. So we will go for a short break, and when we come back, we are going to dissect more on matters WTO amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Stay tuned. Welcome back, dear viewers, and to our next point of discussion. Martin.
Yes.
We are living amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes.
We've seen some issues arising.
Yes.
And these are matters that WTO is best placed to address them.
Yes.
What do you think the WTO, under the leadership of our own Dr. Ngozi, is going to do to help in solving these issues?
One of the things that has, can be characterized as a blessing that has come, alongside this COVID, is that it has given us a different way to understand issues. Even issues that hitherto are very complex for the understanding of all of us, not only a common person who does not, have, the training or the intellectual capability to sift through these issues,
Mm-hmm.
has, found himself or herself understanding or being understanding these issues because they affect him or her directly.
Yeah.
To answer your question, COVID has shown us how unfair global trade is.
Mm-hmm.
The rules don't apply fairly.
Mm-hmm.
The rules are not predictable and global trade is not stable.
Yeah.
Why do I say so? One of the things that everybody knows, or one of the questions that people have been asking, is how do we access medical supplies?
Mm-hmm.
How do we access vaccines?
And that is the global south.
That is the global south.
Mm-hmm.
The medical supplies that were there when COVID hit
Mm-hmm.
largely were directed towards benefiting countries in the global north.
Yeah.
And those are basically the developed countries. Although there were, severe shortage even in those countries,
Mm-hmm.
there is a sense in which that, the global south and particularly Africa was not able to access those medical goods in the same manner as the global north. In other words,
Yeah.
privilege was given, or preference was given, to global north to the exclusion and at the expense of
The
global
global
south
south.
and particularly Africa. This is one of the things that the WTO is going to address, or is expected to address, under the leadership and the patronage of Dr. Ngozi.
We are hopeful that
We
it
are
is
hopeful.
Going, yes.
And the reason why we are hopeful is she has captured this. She captured this in, while she was, pitching her vision and her plans for the WTO during the time of canvassing for votes, and also when she was elected as the DG. She has said that one of her major focus is going to be helping members of the WTO access medical goods in a fairer manner, in a predictable manner, and in a stable manner. Remember, like I said, in my introduction, Dr. Ngozi is also the chair of the Global Alliance on Vaccines and Immunization. So she understands the urgency. She understands the need to have fairness in the access and in the trade of medical supplies. So that is the starting point. And this is important because, like we have seen with this vaccine, which is something else that we have seen, nobody can be safe. Unless all of us are safe, nobody is going to be safe. So whether the global north or the south, or whether the global north wants it or not, vaccines have to be accessed by everybody.
Yes.
We can only be safe by making sure that so many of the world population is vaccinated. We can, because variants of this particular virus are springing up everywhere. We have a Brazilian variant, we have a South African variant, and these variants that are coming up are more lethal than the variants that were there before. And because of things like global travel and whatever, I mean, we really cannot contain people unless you impose travel restrictions, and we have seen that those restrictions,
which is going to curtail
to curtail trade, and it is going to make it difficult for economies to recover post-COVID. And this is one of the focus of global leaders, to make sure that there is that economies are going to recover post-COVID. So one of the focus areas is making members see the point of making access to vaccines, access to medical supplies fairer, predictable, and stable. That is going to be her ultimate test. That is the first test. That is the first thing that she has to address. I have no doubt in my mind that Dr. Ngozi understands the seriousness of this thing, but she also understands the urgency of this thing. She has to address that issue, and it is also going to, dictate the pace of the rest of the reforms or the rest of the things that she wants to do. Other than that, is the fact that COVID has also shown us that there is danger of not having economies that are properly diversified, that are not properly backed by technology, by such things, by knowledge or whatever. So she must reimagine post-COVID recovery within the broad technology and diversification of economies.
Yes.
We cannot continue to do things as we were doing them before. So the digital economy is going to play a very big part. And I had her actually pitch that particular issue. So she's going to focus herself on making sure that digitization or technology is being used as a tool to help economies recover speedily post-COVID. So that is an agenda that she's going to spearhead. But of course, now, when we talk about technology and the digital economy, there are things that come up like, the rules
Yes.
on which that digital economy is going to run, and to make sure that those rules
Rules of engagement
serve everybody.
Yes.
They are not going to benefit a few to the exclusion of the many. So those are the things that she is going to focus on. So her first assignment, it is access and trade in global medical supplies and vaccines. The second thing is, looking at the things that are going to help us, have a speedy recovery. So those are the things that she is going to focus on. There are other things that are, traditional problems that include, all these things to deal with, subsidies on agriculture, making sure that, the secretariat is given the right, capacity, training, and space to work and to help the WTO serve members better, all those other things. Finally, remember that Dr. Ngozi is coming at a time when we have had a lot of trade disputes or very serious trade disputes between the big boys.
Yes.
We're looking at US-China trade dispute
And US
during
EU.
and the US-EU.
Yes.
Those are very serious issues because you see, these are the people who drive global trade. If they are disputing, if they cannot talk to each other, if they cannot agree on some issues, then that is going to affect the recovery of the global economy, because you see, they play such a pivotal role in driving that economy.
And if they are affected, it trickles down
Exactly.
to the global south.
It trickles down because
Automatically.
issues to do with now who is on our side, who is against us, how do we use the carrot and sticks diplomacy
Yes.
to make sure that we have people on our side and they are not supporting our perceived enemies. These issues come up. I don't think that is where the focus should be, and Dr. Ngozi is going to offer leadership to make sure that these disputes do not take our focus away from the important things, and the important things is making sure that we have a speedy recovery of our economies, of the global economies post-COVID. So she has to deal with the issue of making sure that the big boys, EU, US, China, submit themselves within the rules of within the jurisdiction of the WTO. As to whether they are going to see the point or not, I think there is nothing wrong in trying.
Yeah, at least she will have tried.
She will have tried.
Yes.
She will have tried.
Oh, very important points there. There is a point you raised on agriculture, trade, digitalization, and all that.
Yes.
I would want to invite you back
Yeah.
to have a very concrete discussion on that,
Yeah.
because as we know, Africa depends so much on, is it single economy? A single, we
are not
depend so much
properly
on,
diversified.
Yeah, on agriculture.
Yes.
Agriculture is the
Yes.
main thing,
Yeah.
and that is something that I would want to discuss so
Yeah.
that we see the way forward on moving from agriculture to trade and commerce.
I mean, that you raise a good point, and I am very excited, or I will be more than willing to come and discuss that issue. But quickly, if you look at the report of the World Bank or these other, organizations like the World Economic Forum, and if you remember what I told you, that Africa contributes only 2.5% towards global trade, it lies in what you are asking. Because other than the rules or these other things that we are talking within the EU, there are problems that are within Africa.
Yes.
And one of the problems that is within Africa, it is our lack of capacity to produce goods or to offer services that account for a bigger chunk of the global trade.
Yes.
If you look at the top 10 goods that are traded, you are not going to find agricultural goods there.
True.
They are not there.
Yes.
So what we are focusing on producing does not have a lot of traction within the global trade. It is not there.
Exactly.
The global trade is about automobiles, it's about integrated circuits, it's about refined petroleum, it's about computers, it is about broadcast equipment, it is about carpets. I mean, among all those that I have listed, does Africa manufacture or producing of those commodities, then does it surprise you that Africa is playing such a peripheral role in global trade? It doesn't surprise anyone. So there are things that Africa has to work on, and it is its capacity to produce goods that fetch or account for a bigger percentage of the global trade. That is an issue that I would be welcome to discuss with you some other time.
Yeah, so there needs to be a paradigm shift on that.
There needs to be, definitely.
Yes. So viewers, as you've heard, that was a very enriching discussion. I hope it will help someone who is interested in matters Africa development. Until then, see you next time. Bye.
Tumemaliza? Sikiza usikie kama hivyo na upepo.
Hata sijakuthank. Si lazima nilikuwa na hiyo thank you.
Si unaweza kurekodi yako kando.
Alafu bye.